stadium where the stakes, they could scarcely be higher. Tonight it's Arsenal and Sporting Lisbon locked together in this Champions League quarter-final second leg. History in our sights, the tifo behind the stand, full of the Arsenal stronghold, staring directly down the barrel of the Sporting Lisbon fans that have travelled all the way from the Portuguese capital. That 985-mile journey as the crow flies. And this one, just one goal separating the two from the first leg back at the Estadio José Alvalade. And now 90 minutes, maybe even more, that could define entire seasons beyond European success. I'm Jonathan Blakely, your commentator for the game tonight, and I'm thrilled to be bringing you this one that I'm sure is going to be a tight, cagey affair, in particular if the home side can't find a way to get beyond Lisbon's defence within the first half as well. Questions might start spiralling in the heads of the Arsenal plans and even the fans on the sides of the field as both sets of players now make their way out from the tunnel here below at the Emirates in North London. History in our sights, that black Champions League ball now being scooped up with both sets of players emerging from the road to Budapest 26 tunnel. Everyone knows how serious this one is tonight, not only for their European ambitions this evening, but maybe even domestically to put them back on track. Well, the two-team lineups, they are as follows. For Mikel Arteta, he has named 4 changes from the side that picked up that 1-0 victory last week in Lisbon, notably with Christian Mosquera stepping in alongside Bireyeze, Martinelli and Hincapié, with Trossard and White dropped to the bench and Odegaard and Calafiori deemed unfit to even make the bench this evening. So David Raya in goal with Christian Mosquera, William Saliba, Gabriel and Piero Hincapié at the back. Martin Zubimendi and captain for this evening, Declan Rice, on his 150th appearance for Arsenal in his career. And in the midfield as well, Noni Madueke with Bireyeze and Martinelli. And then the lone striker tonight, a man that will need no introduction to the Sporting Lisbon fans and the players, as well as manager Rui Borges, in Victor Gyökeres. Dangerous talisman, the Swede, led his team to the World Cup this summer in the recent international break, and will look to lead his club side to the pinnacle of European club success and the pinnacle of English football success as well. Well, Rui Borges has named 2 changes from their side that fell to that 1-0 defeat back at the Estadio José Alvalade last week, with Morten Hjulman coming back into the starting lineup and taking the captain's armband once again, and Eduardo Quaresma entering the starting lineup for this evening. He was on the bench for the Arsenal game in that first leg, the Sporting youth player stepping in place of the injured Fresneda, deemed not fit enough to make the bench tonight, with João Simões dropped towards the bench. If he comes off the bench, he will make his 50th appearance. The 19-year-old hot-looking talent coming through for Portuguese football. And Rui Silva is between the sticks this evening for Sporting Lisbon, with Arroyo, Inacio Diomande and Quaresma at the back. Morita and the captain Hjulmand in midfield, alongside Pedro Goncalves and Catamo, flanked either side by another player making a record appearance this evening for their club in Francisco Trincão. 200th appearance for Sporting Lisbon this evening for the Portuguese international. And he himself got himself on the score sheet for Portugal against the USA in that most recent international break. And then the man who himself is in fine goal-scoring form. They thought they'd lost one in Victor Gyökeres, but they gained in the Colombian international in Luis Suarez, signed from Almeria in the summer. 33 goals across 44 games played this season alone. 5 goals this season in the Champions League. Martinelli is the top scorer for Arsenal in the Champions League with 6 goals. Gyökeres with the 4 goals this season, yet to score in the knockout stages as well. And what he would give to be the man to fire the Gunners into the semi-finals that are awaiting with Atletico Madrid on Wednesday the 29th in Madrid, and then potentially back here or in Lisbon on May the 5th for the second leg of those semi-finals. Well, it's a mixed culture of referees this evening. Those on the field this evening are all of French contingency. Francois Letexier is the man in the middle, with Cyril Mounier and Mehmedi Ramadouni. on the assistants, with Stephanie Frappart, the fourth official between the two dugouts. The VAR this evening is German Bastien Dankart, and the AVR is the Belgian Bran van der Rijsja, as the Arsenal fans now get ready to let their team know that they are fully behind them every single kick of this 90 minutes, looking to make amends for falling to that 2-1 defeat at the weekend against Bournemouth. A recent spell of games, all of which domestically have felt defeat come their way. There are only 2 victories in their last 5 games in this competition, and it will be Sporting Lisbon that get us underway here in this slow setting spring sunshine in North London, in their green and white hoop shirts with black shorts and green and white hoop socks. And Arsenal, they will be kicking from right to left in their white shirts, their red shirts with white sleeves, white shorts and red socks. Sporting Lisbon shooting away from their glowing green and white travelling contingency in the corner here at the Emirates Stadium. And there is a certain electricity in the air here, the knowledge that history is within touching distance. Arsenal, so often a club promise of recent years, standing on the brink of something far more tangible, and a place in Europe's elites this evening as well. Well, for them, progression tonight, it would be a statement that the project has matured, that the process is coming to fruition. Elimination, though, that would sting deeply for Arsenal tonight, and it would ask a lot of questions of this young side, and even more questions of the man in the dugout, and if he is able to deliver on the promises that he has made. Well, for Sporting Lisbon, they themselves have got big games coming up in the Liga Portugal, sitting second, 5 points behind Porto, with games against Benfica and Porto, their next 2 in the league. Wonderful dispossession, though, as Ere now carries the ball midway inside of the Lisbon half towards the penalty area, off towards Gyökeres, but a poor pass laid off into the box, cleared away with ease as Lisbon clear out for an Arsenal throw-in midway inside the Lisbon half on this nearer side. Ibere has a driving run deeper into the Lisbon half, couldn't quite find a pass to materialise or release Victor Gyökeres to guide open enough space. What a setting this is for tonight as well. The Emirates, nestled in North London. The stands not far from the historic district of Islington and their former home. Well, the fans here will let you know via the words of Louis Dunford that the streets really are their own, and their hearts on full view for all the footballing world to witness this evening. Atletico Madrid lying in wait for one of these 2 teams after their impressive displays against Barcelona at both Camp Nou and the Wanda Metropolitano. The first of those games will be played in Madrid on the 29th of April at the end of this month, before the return leg either here or in Lisbon on the 5th of May, as Rice lays a free kick up this far left-hand side. Martinelli jinking in, ball in towards the box, easily dealt with there though by Concalves. Lisbon just trying to get on the ball. Wonderful pressure from Arsenal at the start of this game. Eze in towards the box. Lisbon again scrambling to clear the ball away, and now Lisbon have a chance to break up the right hand side themselves, bringing the ball over but far too heavily overrun in towards the Arsenal half. Getting trapped under pressure there was Luis Suarez from the oncoming run from Zubamendi, and Arsenal now back on the ball themselves, with Zubamendi turning with a short pass. 1-2 interchange with Ibere Eze. There is another game happening tonight as well, Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid. Madrid taking an early lead in Munich as well. Arda Güler scoring within the first minute of that game, now bringing that one aggregate to 2 apiece. Paris Saint-Germain, the ones lying in wait for them, many thinking that Bayern Munich are the hot pick for the Champions League this year, but already feeling the wrath of Real Madrid in the opening minute in Munich tonight. So that one, Bayern Munich 0, Real Madrid 1. The score here on aggregate 1-0 to Arsenal. Arteta keen for the fans to bring the fire with them tonight in the build-up to this game. And I'm sure the Arsenal fans will be all too aware that they wish to try and extend their lead before half-time. That would surely ease tensions a little bit more here tonight in North London, with their attentions firmly squared on a big task at hand on Sunday up at the Etihad for them in their pursuit of remaining 6 points clear ahead of Manchester City. Manchester City picking up fine form and could easily reduce that gap from 6 to 3 with a game still in hand. Arsenal very aware of this and aware of recent situations that have brought them to that place of sitting seemingly comfortably top. but then falling further away. Eze has the ball 5 yards inside the Lisbon half on this near side. Shielded by Goncalves, laid up towards Madueke. Excellent tackle though coming in from Arroyo. He's going to go out for a Arsenal throw-in right in front of Rui Borges in a all beige looking number, sporting the gilet of Arteta, lingering not too far away in his all too traditional black attire, very similar to that of Diego Simeone. So it'll be a clash of the all black for the managers if Arsenal do find their way through this evening. But Arsenal on the ball now midway inside their own half. 5 minutes gone here at the Emirates. Arsenal 0, Sporting Lisbon 0. 1-0 on aggregate to Arsenal. Very little for Lisbon to have time on the ball. Arsenal at the moment in full control, as expected, as Mosquera midway inside the Lisbon half up this right-hand side. Lays off towards Madueke, cutting in from the channel and played back out towards Mosquera. As Mosquera plays the ball back to the captain, Rice. 1-2. Rice on the ball now on what is his 150th appearance for Arsenal. Laid up towards Eze on the right edge of the area, cutting in towards the corner flag. Those bright pink boots, stepping over the ball, driving up the byline, in towards the area. Madueke turning on a dime. Chance for a shot here, potentially. But Hincapié can't quite find a way. Hjulman driving on top to put a big foot in the way. But still Arsenal come seemingly up for this one tonight. They must be as well, if they're going to keep their ambitions and hopes alive of a trip to Budapest in May. Now up this left-hand side of the area, Martinelli, but a good tackle in. And Sporting Lisbon get the ball away for an Arsenal corner to be taken on the further side. All the Arsenal fans firmly on their feet, willing their team on, every single blade of grass covered. But an excellent tackle from Eduardo Quaresma, guiding that ball away. Rui Borges must have been sure that his side would face immense pressure, in particular in the opening 10-15 minutes of the game. Riding that pressure so far, but for a goal to come in the opening minute here, that would surely bring the task to the near impossible levels for the Lions. As Rice takes that corner deep to the back post, but over the head of Zubamendi. And that one goes out for a goal kick for Sporting Lisbon instead. Arsenal always such a threat from corners. Seems to be one of their real aces in hand. Dangerous in corners, whether they're driven into the near post or almost driven looped to the further post as well. Utilising the height of players such as Saliba and Gabriel, and even Victor Gyökeres, 6'2". Dangerous in the penalty area. And Bayern Munich, well, they have equalised against Real Madrid. A fantastic game kicking off early on there at Allianz this evening. So that one bringing it back now to 3-2 on aggregate for Bayern Munich. Bayern, one of the hotshot teams to keep an eye on, as said just moments ago. They have taken no time whatsoever in getting themselves back technically in front of that game. Not on the night, but overall 3-2 up now. Arsenal will definitely want to try and get this job done within the first half. Mikel Arteta keen on his side, taking this game not by the scruff of the neck but firmly the bull by its horns. But Lisbon at the moment just trying to hold on at the moment, not really any time on the ball, but with the ball now midway inside of their own half. Diomande up towards the halfway line, ball played up towards Trincao. Is now on this further right hand side of the field, just cutting back, all the runs being shielded out by the quick shutdown and the pressure from the Arsenal players in bright red surrounding nearest to. Lisbon switching the ball out to the left hand side now with Goncalves, and the ball played all the way further back. Eze putting the chase on now. Gyökeres further still on Diomande, and even Martinelli. All the Arsenal players pushing further up and forcing an error there in a throw-in for Arsenal 15 yards inside of the Lisbon half on the further side. Quaresma just feeling good pressure from Martinelli there. Martinelli and Madueke, Eze and Gyökeres almost playing as a front four very aggressively tonight. With Rice, the operation in the middle of the park, captain's armband. Bukayo Saka still not deemed fit enough to make the bench. Usual captain for Arsenal, as well as Martin Ødegaard, both players unable to make the bench this evening. Maybe an eye on Sunday as Lisbon now look to break up this left-hand side of the field. Trincao carrying the ball just into the Arsenal half. Laid up towards the left edge of the penalty area here with Goncalves. Good tackle in there, though, from William Saliba. And that's going to go out instead for Lisbon, deep inside the Arsenal half on this left-hand side. The first real chance for Lisbon to try and make something of the ball in the Arsenal third. And Arroyo with the throw-in thrown all the way back instead towards Inacio. Midway inside the Arsenal half, laid up towards the edge of the area. Hjulmand, heavy touch onwards, still with the ball at feet. Goncalves diving in towards the penalty area. Good piece of play this, under pressure, and a wonderful tackle from Saliba, putting a foot in at the right moment. As Madueke plays the ball back to Saliba, first time right-footed, big clearance, those bright yellow boots swiping the ball away. But Lisbon get themselves back on the ball once more. Fully aware of the task at hand for Sporting Lisbon tonight, a side that have never once made the semi-final of the Champions League. They haven't won in England in a knockout round since 2005, beating Middlesbrough 3-1 in the UEFA Cup. 10 unsuccessful visits to England following that game. All the signs pointing towards an Arsenal victory. Their last 9 appearances at the quarter-final, every single one of them tasting defeat in this tournament. What they would give to break that this evening against a formidable opponent at a place that they are so dangerous at. But that's a wonderful ball to Arroyo, slipping underfoot, 10 yards from the penalty area, cutting in, but wonderful marking from Mosquera, guiding the ball away. Madueke now, bursting up the right-hand touchline on this near side, carrying the ball in towards the Lisbon half, midway inside, surrounded by green and white hooped shirts, with the ball cut into the middle. Zubamendi stretching to keep the ball alive and does brilliantly. Rice now, 10 yards from the left edge of the penalty area, shot from range, wonderful interception by Hjulmand, the two captains coming together, and a ball deflected long for Luis Suarez with a short pass laid back towards Hjulmand instead. Lisbon looking to break again up this left-hand side. Little sparks of joy for the visiting team up either channel in the recent couple of minutes. 12 minutes gone, Arsenal 0, Sporting Lisbon 0. 1-0 on aggregate, one apiece so far, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, but Munich now 3-2 up, facing Paris Saint-Germain as it stands. And as it stands here, Arsenal will be playing Atletico Madrid for that chance of a trip on the 30th of May to the Puskás Arena in Budapest for the final. Looking to amend the heartbreak of 20 years prior at the Stade de France against Barcelona. Daring to go one step further as Katamo now slowly builds up, looking to attack that side of the field. Wonderful to the right edge of the penalty area. Hincapié putting a good bit of pressure on, and far too easily going out of play for a goal kick. And Hincapié stood over Jenny Katamo, finger pointed squarely into the face of the Mozambique international, rolling around, feeling something. The referee, though, Francois Letexier, not giving anything on that whatsoever, and Hincapié letting him know that he's not going to be able to get away with anything in particular tonight. Hincapié marshalling brilliantly up that right-hand side of the field. 6'1", the big Ecuadorian, but he's got a sharp turn of pace on him as well, enough to match Jenny Katamo. And the referee now just waiting to see what's going to happen. Just checking VAR. Very little, though, to come of that, surely, on that one. From what I could see, the lightest of touches on the foot of Jenny Katamo. He was still down in the penalty area, right on the byline. With Morten Hjulmand just coming over to have a word with Jenny Katamo just to see what's going on. VAR this evening is Bastian Dankert, the German, with Bran van Drijscher, the Belgian. Still having an investigation here, it seems, at the moment, but the referee just trying to speed things up a little bit more. As the physio's now just coming on to check on Jenny Katamo, of course, away with the World Cup coming up in the summer. A player going down with an injury such as this, where the physios need to come on, they will be made to leave the field for an entire minute, at least, until the referee gives them the wave to come back onto the field of play. A thrilling game last night at the Wanda Metropolitano, a real indication of the strength that either of these two sides are going to have to face in the semi-final. Ruthless Diego Simeone setup, and a ruthless team as well. As play now resuming with the goal kick, Katamo making his way around the further side waiting for instruction to come back on by Francois Le Texier, and they're now receiving that gesture to come back onto the field of play with Rice on the ball, just on the centre circle inside of the Arsenal half, and laid back instead towards Gabriel. Gabriel and Saliba, a formidable pairing at the back for Arsenal this season, but many feeling the cracks are maybe starting to show yet again at the business end of a season. There's lots of talk of quadruples just weeks ago. Now there's talks of doubles with question marks lingering not too far away from that word. But are they able to hold on for this one? Many feeling that this was the easier of the ties in the quarter-final for Arsenal to have to navigate. But Lisbon made them work for it. Back last week, scoring on the 91st minute, Kai Havertz. Sporting recording more attempts on the goal in that game, despite Arsenal having a larger share of the possession. But so far, Arsenal seemingly in control tonight at the Emirates. Not really been made to work too much so far. Bright, positive start from the Gunners right at the start of the game. No real chances as of yet to note. 15 minutes gone here in North London. Arsenal 0, Sporting Lisbon 0. Going to plan as Zubamendi lays a ball up the further channel, but marshalled by Quaresma, laid inside towards Inacio. Pressure from Arsenal players surrounding as Lisbon try and break the ball away. First time passing out to the right-hand channel. Trincao short towards Katamo, back on the field, hugging that right-hand touchline with a ball laid back instead towards Quaresma. Diamande midway inside the Lisbon half, short towards Inacio with a long left-footed ball up the further channel. Hincapié watching that one roll across the body and out comfortably for an Arsenal throw-in that's taken quickly enough with an almost elemental air of the foul throw on that from Piero Hincapié. Always need to be careful throwing down so aggressively, almost directly in front of them. As Luis Suarez, incredible goal-scoring record this season for the Colombian. 33 goals across 44 competitions this year. But Victor Gyökeres does have the best goal-scoring ratio for a Sporting Lisbon player, with more than 20 games played. Excellent, 97 goals in 102. But now Suarez released into the penalty area, left-hand side. Shot from the near side, but always going well wide. So wide, in fact, it's gone out for a throw-in. And up goes the assistant's flag on that far side against Suarez. All of the Arsenal players gesturing when the ball was played through that Suarez was in an offside position. And yeah, by around half a body's length, as I've just seen on the monitor in front of me. Luis Suarez just lingered into an offside position. Gyökeres, 102 games for Sporting Lisbon, 97 goals scored. An incredible, devastating record for the Swede. Plied his trades with the likes of Coventry City, Premier League bound Coventry. He will be facing another former team next season when they come here to the Emirates. And himself back up to the CBS Arena in Coventry. And a good job so far with Victor Gyökeres with his time at Arsenal, but yet to score in the knockout stages for the Gunners in the Champions League. Sporting Lisbon impressively coming away 3-0 down in their first leg of the round of 16 against Bodø Glimt. Tricky place to go up there in Norway, but a demolition job, a 5-0 hammering in Lisbon in the second leg. Showed the ferocity that this team can possess, and that's far too easily dispossessed up the right-hand side of the Arsenal penalty area. Lisbon looking to drive in with a shot, but always sailing wide yet again there. Trincao with the shot, never seeming too comfortable. Arsenal players swarming around. As Morten Hjulmand, excellent to slash the ball out of the air. But Saliba, Eze and Hincapié just charging down on Francesco Trincao in the box, with his effort sailing a good 7 or 8 yards wide of the right-hand side of David Raya's goal. Neither goalkeeper tested so far in the game. And they can always be tricky days to deal with. But now Arsenal with a chance to break. Gyökeres, edge of the area, shot from Gyökeres, but just going over the bar. Teeth clenched together, Gyökeres, knowing how close that could have been. Knowing that he also could have done that little bit better as well. A couple of yards from the edge of the box when first striking the ball, but continuing to sail higher and higher still into the stand behind the goal that Arsenal are shooting towards. And they'll be looking for plenty more chances like that to release Victor Gyökeres, the Swedish international. Sweden booking their place in almost surprising manner in the World Cup for this coming summer. Bottom of their World Cup group, but advancing via the playoff route instead. As Arsenal now have the ball 5 yards inside of the Lisbon half on this right-hand side. Madueke switching back into the centre circle of the Arsenal half, with Gabriel just encouraging nearer passes towards Saliba. Sporting players just slowly building further upfield. Hincapié, wonderful pass towards Madueke, first time towards Eze. Cute Cruyff away from Hjulman, but that's a poor pass across. As now racing to get there is Katamo, but a heavy touch away as Martinelli now rolls the ball with that right foot up the right-hand channel. The Lisbon fans bouncing in the stand behind as Eze plays out to the left edge of the penalty area. Hincapié in towards the box, headed away by Lisbon. Desperate defending at the moment, but now they're looking to break with Suarez sending a ball up the right-hand channel. Beautifully marshalled, though, instead there by Hincapié, getting a big, important interception on the ball. Laid back now with Rice on the halfway line. Zubamendi, 5 yards into the Lisbon half, dead centre of the centre circle, now laid up towards Madueke, rolling away and winning a free kick for Arsenal. This free kick to be taken around 12 yards from the very right edge of the penalty area in the D. Madueke, beautiful roll away from Goncalves there, winning a free kick. Noni Madueke growing in strength to strength with every game that he plays in this season. Since that summer arrival from Chelsea, just a few miles further west from here. Hasn't scored in the Champions League since his brace against Brugge on the 10th of December. In what is his first season in the Champions League, it's going to be Declan Rice stood over this free kick. This one around 12 or so yards away from the edge of the penalty area. Plenty of players in green and white hoop shirts lining up. Laid short, edge of the box. Eze with a shot, easily dealt with though by Trincao. And now do Lisbon have a chance to break away themselves as Katamo's been laid up in towards the Arsenal half. Beautiful marshal though, absolutely wonderful that as Arsenal look to break away themselves. Martinelli reading the run of Katamo stride for stride and dispossessing. As Madueke plays a long ball up the right-hand side of the Lisbon penalty area, but Mosquera going far too aggressively through the back of Inacio and giving away a free kick in the process. And so nearly there a chance for Lisbon to break away. Martinelli, terrifying pace to cover back and just stop Jenny Katamo in his tracks. Brilliant from the Brazilian, putting a big body in front of the Mozambique international and denying him any chance of breaking further towards the Arsenal penalty area. But that a show of exactly what Lisbon have in the locker. If you so much as give them a chance, they will look to capitalise as Rice goes down looking for a free kick from the referee, playing allowed to continue on as Eze sends a ball out to the right-hand side of the field. Wonderful there from Zubamendi, clearing a ball long, winning a free kick in the process. That one off the centre circle inside of their own half. And it looks like Pedro Goncalves is just going down at the moment, holding his foot, stretching out to try and stop Zubamendi, catching the right leg of the Spanish international. One of the other summer signings from Real Sociedad. Big opportunity this as well for Declan Rice, captain's armband. Player that many think here that he should be the captain for Arsenal going forward, in particular into next season, a captain for West Ham, future captain for England, they're all saying as well. Truly is a born leader, the man in the middle of the park for Arsenal. And will he be the man to lead Arsenal to the semi-finals against Atletico Madrid in the last week of this month and the first week of the next? With dreams of Budapest on the 30th of May. Zarullo sliding down, giving away a throw-in for Arsenal around 8 yards inside the Lisbon half on this nearer side. It's going to be Mosquera to take this right in front of the all-beige-clad Rui Borges. It's Mosquera thrown up towards Gyökeres, first time laid off towards Madueke, cutting into the right edge of the box, wonderful footwork and winning a free kick as well in the process. This free kick around 2 yards from the right corner edge of the box. Hideshi Morita, the one to be guilty of catching and leaving a foot lingering right on the foot of the English international. Protesting his innocence. I can't see why the innocence is being protested. Quite clearly caught the foot the right leg of Noni Madueke. And this a free kick in a position of some threat for Arsenal. This will be taken 3 or 4 yards from the very right corner edge of the Lisbon penalty area. Madueke and Rice just currently stood over this one at the moment. Arsenal players gathering into a little group towards the further side of the 6-yard area, with Gabriel coming over to offering a little bit of word of advice, and Rice is now moving away from this. This is going to be Madueke, left-footed. And will this be an attempt on the goal, or will it be swung, driven towards that back post, the threat Arsenal possess from these sorts of chances? Madueke, right arm, left-footed opportunity now, swung to the back post, but Rui Silva climbing highest. No real pressure whatsoever on the goalkeeper to clutch that one out of the air with relative ease. As Madueke, frustrated slap of the hands, knowing that he felt he could have done a little bit better maybe with that delivery, as Lisbon try and pass themselves out of danger and do just about that, with Diomande now midway inside the Lisbon half, stopping dead in his tracks, squared right towards the captain Hjulmand. 25 minutes gone, Arsenal 0, Sporting 0, 1-0 on aggregate to the home side. The away goals rule no longer a thing here in this competition. Arsenal currently in full control, but no chances of either note for either side in what could grow potentially cagier and cagier as the game goes on, in particular for Arsenal as well, knowing that a 1-goal advantage is so fragile, in particular in this tournament, looking to make amends from their exit to Paris Saint-Germain last season in the semi-final stage. Morita laid out now, Lisbon breaking up the left-hand side of Arsenal's area into the box, big fit in, and it's going to be a corner, the first corner for Lisbon of the game, taking up this left-hand side. Christian Mosquera getting a big foot in on Arroyo, looking to play a ball into the penalty area, and it's going to be Pedro Goncalves to take this corner on this nearer side. Players coming up in green and white, mixing in with the bright red and white of Arsenal. And this is going to be a right-footed delivery on this near side. Not too much action around David Raya, plenty of space. This one right-footed to the near post, not beating the nearest man, pumped high into the air. Lisbon still looking to keep the ball alive. Hjulmand down in towards the box, cleared first time by Saliba, and that one's going to go out for a Sporting throw-in. This one around 15 yards into the Arsenal half on this near side. Easily dealt with there. Gabriel taking no chances whatsoever to clear that ball away at the first time of asking. As Arroyo takes that throw-in now, laid off towards Goncalves, who plays the ball all the way back towards Diomande inside of his own half. As Lisbon look to go up the right-hand side, but brilliant marshal from Gyökeres. The high line is proving really taxing, and it's taxed there as Zubamendi picks up on a loose pass in the centre circle. Gabriel, easy to break away now with a ball laid up. First time Madueke laid off to Eza. Eza picking up now midway inside the Lisbon half. Laid off to this right-hand channel towards Mosquera. Madueke making a run up the channel, but instead laid in the centre towards Eza. As Eza plays across to the left-hand side, squared to Rice and further still towards Martinelli, 10 yards from the left corner of the Lisbon penalty area. Sporting players back now in large numbers, forming a large line along the edge of the box. As Martinelli lays a short pass squared again towards Saliba. Right-hand side of the field now of the box here with Mosquera. Madueke laid back again towards Saliba in plenty of space and time to figure out where to go, which route to take. Martinelli squared to the left towards Rice now, coming up that left-hand side. Still around midway inside the Lisbon half. A strong structure at the moment set up by the Sporting players, lining up in long, formidable shapes. And stopping Arsenal from playing through balls like that one for Eza, though into the box. Zubamendi, Gyökeres laid off, not quite dealt with, but Lisbon clearing the ball away, swiping, taking no chances in Asio, and that goes out for an Arsenal throw-in midway inside the Lisbon half up that left-hand side. And so nearly getting a luck of the ball as Martinelli now comes up the left-hand channel. In the corner flag, up towards the byline, big foot in there from Diomande, and that one's going to go out for a corner for Arsenal, right in front of that stronghold of green and white Sporting travelling support. Victor Gyökeres so nearly able to get a big foot in front, but Inacio reading well enough just to put enough pressure on. But they will be very well aware of the threat that Arsenal have from corners. A cluster of Arsenal players gathering towards the further side of the 6-yard area. It is going to be Declan Rice to take this corner. This to be right-footed, swung towards the goal in front of those Sporting Lisbon fans. The left arm raised, right-footed now, hooked towards that back post. High ball, Zubamendi heading down, but no real pace on the ball to the nearer post. With Rui Silva just easily falling on top of the ball, stopping it dead in its tracks. A wonderful hook of the ball from Declan Rice towards that back post, lofted high, always hooking towards that back post. But Zubamendi not quite able to get enough power behind the header at that further post as Lisbon now come midway inside the Arsenal half up the right hand side. Katamo looking to attack Hincapié. Good ball laid off towards the edge of the area, and now a chance for Lisbon, and that's the shot, but far too aggressive over the bar there. Goncalves head in hands, teeth grimace towards one another, but the assistant's flag also raised on that further side as Real Madrid have retaken the lead in Munich. That one now 2-1 to Real Madrid. A phenomenal game at the Allianz tonight. That one always going to be an edgy affair between two sides that feel that they should be the one lifting the trophy, but Madueke dispossessing in towards the edge of the box. Still Arsenal keep the ball alive. Martinelli off the edge of the area, laid off to the left hand side towards Hincapié. Martinelli looking to come and offer support, but a poor pass from Hincapié as Sporting are trying to break away themselves in speed and numbers. As Morita pumps the ball high into the air up the right-hand touchline. Wonderful play that from Trincao, but can't quite keep the ball down. But excellent from Goncalves, coming in offer of support. As Arsenal players rush to try and get themselves back on the ball. Sporting quick interchange of passes, building away from swarming red shirts. As Diomande lays short towards the captain Hjulmand, 1-2 back towards the Danish international. Sporting so far trying to find some way to break through Arsenal's resilient defensive line. With Rice and Zubamendi offering support, but that ball laid up the left-hand touchline, far too heavy of a touch from Arroyo, and that one goes out for a goal kick for Arsenal. 30 minutes gone here at the Emirates. Arsenal 0, Sporting 0. 1-0 on aggregate to Arsenal. That goal in the first leg by Kai Havertz in the 91st minute. Havertz an option off the bench potentially this evening, as well as a number of Arsenal youth team players, notably Max Daumann, as well as Duziak and Salmon, players who are yet to break into the first team this season for Arsenal. And what a chance that would be for them to get their first minutes for Arsenal in senior colours tonight, as Suarez looks to build away from Saliba, wrestling from Saliba and winning a free kick midway inside the Arsenal half, nearer to this left-hand side of the field. Saliba just pulling back there on Luis Suarez, keeping busy. Saliba just with an arm reaching around and a shirt pull on the Colombian. Saliba arms out wide towards the referee, almost lazy in his response to his claims of innocence towards Francois Letexier. But a free kick now for Sporting Lisbon. This one around halfway inside of the Arsenal half, almost level with the edge of the penalty area on this left-hand side. With Trincao currently stood over the ball, all the Arsenal players lining up on the edge of the box. This to be left-footed, guided into the area, couldn't clear the first man in Rice as Arsenal looked to break away, but a big interception instead. Arroyo though can't quite race to get there, and that one goes out far too easily for an Arsenal throw-in midway inside their own half on this nearer side. And Arteta will be the more pleased of the two managers, but will be aware of the potential of a slip-up that could come to allow a player like Luis Suarez to break in towards the box and try and draw this one level. It will go to extra time and penalties if level on aggregate on the 90th minute, but as it stands at the moment, Arsenal will be preparing for Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid on the 29th of April in Madrid, and the 5th of May here at the Emirates. The hope of a second leg back here at the Emirates would surely give them the spur of inspiration and confidence to book their place in the final on the 30th of May. as Arsenal now look to come midway inside the Lisbon half. Brilliantly tackled there by Arroyo. So far the battle between Madueke and Arroyo continues to develop further still, as Madueke now comes away from the right-hand channel towards the centre of the Lisbon half, cutting back inside. Morita guiding nearest to as the ball has been laid back to the left-hand side of the field. Gabriel, Eze, wonderful. 1-2 laid off with Gyökeres, but marshalled by Arroyo, swiping the ball up into the air and away. As Lisbon again looking to desperately try and stop Arsenal in their tracks. Fully aware, surely, Sporting, that another goal for Arsenal would seal the deal as Martinelli burst towards the byline, dinged in towards the penalty area. Mosquera can't quite get there. Headed away though from Lisbon players, still scrambling to get onto the ball. Not quite dealt with, but now they can with Quaresma pumping a ball long. Luis Suarez to chase, wrestling away from Gabriel, going down, holding his leg, but the referee allowing play to continue. As Madueke takes a touch back towards the halfway line, the referee saying he saw what happened there. We'll see if anything further comes. But Eze now breaking, but a wonderful tackle from behind off of Eze on the penalty area from Hjulmand. And Lisbon have a chance to break away themselves. Big foot in front from Zubamendi, and that one's going to go out instead for a Lisbon throw-in. 6 or 7 yards inside their own half on this nearer side. Right in front of Rui Borges. He's had his hands in his pockets for the entirety of this game, but they might not be there longer as that's been poorly given away. Gyökeres on the edge of the area, big foot in front, still Gyökeres comes. Arsenal, do they have a chance? Martinelli, big foot in front, Sporting clear the ball away, given away cheaply from a throw-in themselves of their own making. As Rice looks to continue that further, but Sporting are able to get bodies back and stop Declan Rice. Sporting now on the halfway line on that right-hand side. Katamo just finding Hjulmand nearest to. Into the final 10 minutes of the first 45 here. Arsenal 0, Sporting 0. 1-0 on aggregate to the Gunners. And the score 2-1 to Real Madrid in Munich. That one now 3 apiece at the Allianz Arena. Many feeling that Arsenal are the side that will almost certainly be in the final on this side of the bracket. Well, it's open to interpretation when you look at the other side. Bayern Munich, so many people's pick. Real Madrid with that European pedigree, and of course Paris Saint-Germain, the current holders of the Champions League, as Arsenal win themselves a free kick deep inside their own half. Mosquera just tripped up 5 yards from the edge of his own penalty area. Well, Christian Mosquera getting himself a start as well tonight, signed from Valencia in the summer. 6'3", big, tall, towering player. Last started against Kairat Almaty, last game of the league phase, so a big opportunity for Mosquera as that's been played into the box, but Arsenal can't quite find Declan Rice as Lisbon look to break away themselves instead. But every time Lisbon look to break, Arsenal players surround them in swarms and just stop them in their tracks from breaking any further afield. Relatively frustrating evening so far, this one seemingly from my vantage point for Sporting Lisbon. Arsenal comfortable, but yet still neither David Raya or Rui Silva have been tested thoroughly as of yet. And that time will surely come as Arteta down there on the sideline, arms out wide, looking for a bit of composure. And especially now they're back on the ball, looking to play this game at their own pace and in their own manner. Zubamendi just stops the ball dead, played back towards the edge of their own centre circle with Gabriel across to the right-hand side towards Saliba. Well, Arsenal with an impressive record of 17 of 18 ties, progressing when leading from the first leg away from home. All the signs pointing towards Arsenal progressing to the semi-final tonight. But the only stat that truly matters is the one that's in the top left-hand corner. That's the one they say that is the most important, and isn't it just? But it currently reads Arsenal 0, Sporting 0, 1-0 on aggregate to the Gunners. Neither side really seemingly getting into the top gears either this evening, as the sun now fully set and the bright lights of the Emirates glowing down on the pitch below. Not too far away at all from the former ground of Highbury. As Arsenal look to break now up that left-hand side, in towards the box in Cappier, chipped across the area, but Rui Silva quick to latch onto the ball at that near post. And just quickly marshalling on that ball there, Rui Silva, Portuguese international goalkeeper, signed from Betis in the summer, not yet kept a clean sheet away from home in the Champions League this season. Whereas David Raya, 7 clean sheets and just the 3 goals gone before him in the competition in its entirety in 10 games, the record this season for any goalkeeper in the tournament. Truly spectacular, with plenty of people saying that he is the goalkeeper of the year, as Bayern Munich have drawn themselves level yet again tonight. That one now 2 apiece. They can try to send a goal or 2 this way. It'd be very nice at the moment. Very little in either third so far. Everything played in the centre of the park, and when any team gets into the opposition third, they just seem to run out of ideas at the moment. No one willing to make any sort of big risk, but Raya cheaply giving the ball away. But Goncalves can't quite do anything with that ball himself. Far too heavily laid up to Trincao. David Raya with a big thumb in the air in apology, and very nearly there, David Raya, speaking so highly of him, nearly gifting Lisbon an opportunity to have a first real dangerous attempt on the goal. But Madueke now breaking towards the byline on the right edge of the area, deflecting the ball off of the Lisbon player nearest to, and that one is going to go out instead for an Arsenal corner. Well, David Raya's blush is spared, so nearly giving the ball away, but Goncalves' first touch not quite able to bring the ball down enough. And a chance again for Arsenal to make something count from a corner on this nearer side of the field. It's going to be Madueke to take this one, as the Arsenal players now slowly move towards that further end of the 6-yard area. Plenty of players black in green and white, aware of the threat that they are about to face. Madueke, this to be a left-footed ball, swung in towards the goal. The right arm raised, Madueke now stepping up left-footed to the back post. Silva palming the ball away as Lisbon look to break further still, as Eze gets a big ball in front into the box, but swiped away at the first time of asking as Lisbon look to break away themselves. Catamo wrestling with Martinelli, the two of them in the centre circle. Catamo coming out on top, but going down far too easily. Catamo, but winning a free kick in the process. Saliba leaving a hand in the face of Jenny Catamo, and the referee eventually blowing the whistle, giving a free kick to the visiting team. This free kick just inside the centre circle, inside of the Arsenal half. And Saliba, his arm just outstretched a little bit too much, fingers even further still, straight into the face of Jenny Catamo, who is just down, sitting upright with his head now dropped low between his legs and slow to get back up to his feet. So we are into the final 5 minutes of the game now. The captain Hulman just helping Jenny Catamo upright. And now minutes away from seeing how much time is going to be added up and lifted by Stephanie Frappart, the 4th official this evening. An all-French officials contingency on the field tonight, with a German VAR and a Belgian assistant VAR. The Sporting take that free kick short back towards Diomande, not looking to play the ball long in towards the Arsenal half, all too aware of the threat they have, in particular with their height and with their strength. But that's a wonderful ball played up towards Suarez, now carrying the ball into the right edge of the area. Arsenal players swarming back. Lisbon look to break to the left edge of the box. Arroyo in the area, waiting for some space, dinking to the back post. Catamo in the back post and off the post. And so nearly Sporting Lisbon finding the leveller there from Catamo, but the ball ricocheting off the further post instead of tucking inside and into the back of the Arsenal net. And that one, by far, the best opportunity of the game for either side. Catamo on the volley at the first time. Arroyo to the backside of the 6-yard area, swiping with the laces, Catamo, but just coming off the further post. And so very nearly Lisbon towards the end of the first half found with their first real opportunity on the goal a way back into the quarter-final. Something for Arsenal to have to consider and keep in their mind, that if you give Sporting Lisbon a chance, they are willing and doing everything and testing what they can to take it. As Lisbon now have the ball again midway inside the Arsenal half, keeping it in close counters but far too easy to dispossess there with Zubamendi. Martinelli now carrying the ball away, but Lisbon players swarming around and dispossessing. This is a lot more like it from the visiting team as we're nearing the final minute of the 45 here at the Emirates, and Real Madrid have now gone 3-2 up against Bayern Munich. What a game in Munich this evening. 5 goals in the first half, not a single one here, but we finally had our first shot, our first real threat on the goal. And it came the way of Jenny Katamo, so nearly drawing Lisbon level overall on the night. As we are now into the final minute here at the Emirates. Plenty of Arsenal fans not quite feeling the effect to get behind their team as much as they did before the game. Everyone looking quite static, feeling quite still. Stark contrast to the Lisbon fans in the goal in that corner of the Emirates here, bouncing joyantly throughout the entirety of the game as Arroyo now carries the ball midway inside the Arsenal half, crossfield from left to right. Far too much on that though in the air as Hincapié heads the ball away with ease as Hjulman picks up on the loose touch from Gyökeres. Morita inside towards Goncalves. Wonderful tackle though as Arsenal look to break away. Feeling pressure at the moment, Arsenal just scrambling to get time on the ball themselves, but Mosquera doing brilliantly to win a free kick deep inside of his own half. That free kick taken quickly by Mosquera. And there is just going to be the 1 minute of time added on by Stephanie Frappart at the end of this game. So 1 minute of time added on before both sets of teams go in. Mikel Arteta will be thanking his lucky stars that Jenny Katamo's touch was not quite clinical enough at the back post. And as it stands, his team are progressing to the semi-final against Atletico Madrid. And in Munich, it's anyone's guess who's going to be taking on Paris Saint-Germain in their semi-final as Eze switches the ball to the left-hand side. Rice now midway into the Lisbon half, carrying to the left with a ball laid off instead towards Hincapié. Martinelli laid off towards Eze. Off the edge of the area by 5 or so yards. Eze with the shot, but rising over the bar, not threatening Rui Silva whatsoever. And that one going out for a goal kick, and that must surely be the last action of the first half here at the Emirates. Arsenal yet to strike a dangerous attempt on the goal in this first half, as Francois Letexier blows up for half-time here in what has been a very tepid game in the middle of the park. Lisbon growing a little bit more confident towards the end of the half. Arsenal, though, holding on a little bit too much, maybe for comfort. They will be fully aware that one more goal in this one will surely be enough to progress them in towards the semi against Atletico Madrid. The score here at half-time is Arsenal 0, Sporting Lisbon 0, 1-0 on aggregate to the Gunners. And we'll bring you the rest of this live audio service here from North London in just over 10 minutes' time before the teams emerge yet again for the second half here at the Emirates. Well, welcome back to the Emirates, where the score is currently Arsenal 0, Sporting Lisbon 0, with the score 1-0 on aggregate to the home side, courtesy of a Kai Havertz winner on the 91st minute last week on the 7th against Sporting at the Estadio Jose Alvalade. With the Arsenal team, they've been out on the field for a couple of minutes now, kept themselves within a huddle. The Sporting Lisbon players just keeping them waiting at the moment in what has been a relatively slow-paced, somewhat central, cagey game. Possession relatively tight, expected goals as low as you could expect them to be, with just one shot on target going for Arsenal, a tepid attempt, but then one glorious chance towards the end of that first half for Jenny Katamo. And from what I can see from the Arsenal huddle, there are no changes yet to be made, as Sporting Lisbon now making their way out of the tunnel below, emerging in their green and white hooped shirts as the Arsenal players spot them and almost in a play-acting way get themselves back in towards a formidable huddle to show Sporting Lisbon that they mean business in this second half, which I have to say we can only hope for as well. It was a relatively tepid first half, especially if you look at it in comparison to the first half that's happened in Munich. That score, Real Madrid 3, Bayern Munich 2, 4-4 on aggregate. And hopefully they can lend us a couple of goal-scoring flourishes themselves. And there seem to be no changes for either side made at half-time. Arsenal will get us back underway in their red shirt with white sleeve, white shorts and red socks, kicking from right to left. Declan Rice to be the one to take this to get us back underway, and does just that with the ball played all the way back towards David Raya in his bright, luminous yellow goalkeeping strip. The Sporting will be kicking from left to right in their green and white hoop shirts with black shorts and green and white hoop socks towards their travelling supporters in the corner at the Emirates here, as Arsenal look to break straight away. Eze into the box, but a good clutch down from Rui Silva at the near post, just jumping on that ball, stopping it dead in its tracks. Very little for either goalkeeper to deal with in that game, in the half so far. Little incident whatsoever. Plenty of ball in the central third, seemingly out of ideas, especially when breaking into the opposition third. And so for Arsenal, David Raya in goal with Mosquera, Saliba, Gabriel and Hincapié at the back, Zubamendi and the captain Rice in the middle, with Madueke Eze and Martinelli up top alongside of Gyökeres. With the Sporting Lisbon Silva in goal, with Arroyo, Inacio, Diomande and Quaresma at the back, Morita and Hjulman the captain. And now Arsenal, though, with a chance to break away. Gyökeres switching a ball out to the left-hand channel, but Arroyo able to get there, far too heavy for Madueke. Marika and Human with Goncalves, Trincao and Katamo in midfield, and Luis Suarez up top, as Lisbon now midway into the Arsenal half. Cute flick back from Trincao, finding Goncalves short and back further still to the halfway line. Diomande laid up towards Katamo, 10 yards from the right edge of the area, laid further still towards Suarez, cutting in from that right channel to the edge of the box. A couple of stepovers laid off to Katamo, the best chance of the game falling to Katamo. His shot just coming off the further post of Raya's goal. And as it stands, Arsenal facing Atletico Madrid in the semi-final of the Champions League. That first leg at the Wanda Metropolitano on Wednesday, the 29th of April. And the second leg, that will be coming here on Tuesday, May the 5th. Hjulman lays the ball off, though, towards the left edge of the area. Lisbon with a chance early on at the start of the half, but just edging wide of the goal. Another good chance then for Arroyo, screaming up to the heavens, knowing how close they were at the start of the half to draw this game level on aggregate. Mosquera showing far too much there for Maxi Arroyo, cutting in on his foot. But that one just a couple of yards wide of the further post of David Raya's goal. Those travelling fans who have come that 985 mile as the crow flies journey from the Portuguese capital, so close to seeing their side draw level either side of half-time in this game. As Quaresma slides in to clear the ball away for an Arsenal throw-in, midway inside the Lisbon half, up this further side. Easily dealt with, though, by the Lisbon players as Quaresma carries the ball up, laid off aimlessly, straight towards Gabriel, who aimlessly in turn lays it straight back to the Lisbon players lying in wait. And it will be interesting to see exactly what Mikel Arteta addressed to his side at half-time. they did come out a good 2, even 3 minutes before Lisbon emerged onto the field here for the second half. So plenty to deal with, but wonderful that from Gabriel, winning a free kick midway inside the Lisbon half, up that right-hand side, being helped back up to his feet by Maxi Arroyo. So a chance here for Arsenal to play a dangerous ball in towards the box. You would have to think surely that an Arsenal goal would seal this deal in its entirety, as they are now back underway in Munich. That one, Bayern 2, Real Madrid 3, 4-4 on aggregate. Paris Saint-Germain, the team lying in wait for whoever comes out on top on that one this evening. It's going to be anyone's guess there, as Rice plays it short towards Eza, 12 yards from the edge of the penalty area, laid off to the right-hand side of the box. Madueke guiding the ball, played back towards Eza, edge of the area, shot from range from Eza, but just bouncing wide of the target. With Eza's hands clutched close to his face, knowing if that was a couple of yards to the left-hand side of where it went, that might have just been giving Rui Silva too much to question. But a good strike with the right foot there from Abire Eze, just sailing wide of the target. Ødegaard and Saka not named on the bench for Arsenal this evening, seemingly rested for the big one up in Manchester this coming Sunday, as Lisbon try and clear the ball away from deep inside their own half, instead electing to play the ball long. Suarez heading the ball onwards for Goncalves, but Rice reading it well enough with the first time ball laid all the way back towards Raya in plenty of space, and laid first time back towards Rice. That bright yellow captain's armband proudly around the left arm of the man who many feel here should be the one to have that armband full time. Many interested to see, myself included, if that is going to be the case next season for Declan Rice, and what is his 150th appearance for Arsenal this evening. And can he be the man to lead them on such an occasion, as Martinelli lays the ball up towards Hincapié, towards the byline, corner flag on this near side. Beautiful flick back towards Martinelli, good tackle in from Trincao, and that's going to go out for an Arsenal corner on this nearer side. The first corner of the half for Arsenal. None of their corners so far really giving too much cause for concern for Sporting Lisbon in their own area. Such a potent threat from corners in particular. They've really found a way of making it almost their bread and butter of their football this season. And is there a chance now for Declan Rice to swing a dangerous ball in towards the penalty area? This one to be a right-footed ball from Declan Rice, the captain. Plenty of players towards the back of the 6-yard area. Rice now right-footed, driven to the back post, but Silva far too easy to claim that ball yet again. The Portuguese number one not yet truly tested this evening, in particular from corners as well. Sporting so far holding them at the best of their ability, but the issues lie further upfield for Sporting if they're going to get themselves back into this and book for the first time in their history their name in the semi-finals of Europe's top competition. For Arsenal, they faced exit at the semi-final last year to eventual winners Paris Saint-Germain. After that unforgettable quarter-final here against Real Madrid, Declan Rice, double goal-scoring hero that evening. Not quite the intensity or the level that they would be facing this evening in that, as Lisbon cheaply give the ball away. It's going to be a throw-in for Arsenal on the halfway line on this nearer side. So we are 7 minutes gone in the second half here at the Emirates. Arsenal 0, Sporting 0, 1-0 on aggregate to the Gunners. Long throw launched up this left-hand side. Eze guiding in towards the left side of the field and winning a throw-in in the process. Just going down though, holding his the back of his foot there, Eze. It's going to be a throw-in for Arsenal, level with the edge of the 18-yard area on this near side. And Hincapié is going to be the one to take this throw-in, just drying the ball off, stealing an extra couple of yards, with Francois Letexier allowing Hincapié to do just that, but now calling him back to take a couple of paces further backwards. Hincapié thrown up towards Martinelli, shielding away from Quaresma. As Hincapié turns away from the nearest players, but far too easily, showing so much there, Hincapié, as Sporting clear the ball away at the first time of asking, but Saliba, the only player dropping deep to pick up on that loose cleared ball. Rice now on the ball, left side of the centre circle, just inside of their own half. Similar pace to the second half as it was to the first, and Sporting giving away a free kick cheaply. Quaresma just sliding in on Hincapié. Quaresma knowing that he slid in a little bit too aggressively there on Hincapié to give away that free kick. It's going to be a free kick for Arsenal around 15 yards into the Lisbon half on this nearest side. There's a couple of players have been summoned up from the bench for Arsenal to get themselves warmed up and potentially now ready. Max Dowman, the one receiving the biggest round of applause from the fans in the Arsenal end as Rice plays this free kick short up this left-hand side towards Martinelli. Martinelli guiding the ball towards the left edge of the area, but again showing so much to the Sporting players nearest to, and winning themselves a throw-in in the process, level with the edge of their own penalty area on this nearer side. Trincao is going to leave for Eduardo Quaresma. Not too much movement from Sporting players warming up at the moment, but the Arsenal players down there receiving relatively intense instructions from one of the coaches down that further side. That to me looked almost like a foul throw from Quaresma, a bit of a loose leg, lingering eye upwards, but Zubamendi playing a dangerous ball up towards Martinelli. Quaresma taking no chances and clearing the ball away for an Arsenal throw-in. This one around 6 yards from the corner flag on this nearer side. As we are nearing 10 minutes gone here in the second half, and it looks like one of those players who might be getting ready to come on is Kai Havertz, hero of the first leg last week in Lisbon. Hincapié, step over, driving to the byline, ball into the box, not quite dealt with this time, cleared by Hjulmand up into the air, midway outside of their own half. Far too easy for Madueke, though, to build away, and still Madueke, wonderful control, right edge of the area, brilliant from Madueke, in towards the box, headed into the air, not quite dealt with, Eze guiding the ball down, Martinelli with the shot, but just going over the crossbar. Madueke, brilliant driving run up the right-hand side of the field with a dangerous ball in towards the box, but Martinelli's opportunity not quite able to connect cleanly enough with the right foot of the Brazilian. And that is a little bit more like it from Arsenal this evening. They showed so little attacking intent in that first half. But Martinelli's shot there, always seemingly again sailing over the crossbar. And it looks like it's going to be Victor Gyökeres who is coming off. So it is Victor Gyökeres coming off with Kai Havertz taking his place. So maybe a little bit of an eye on Sunday potentially there from Mikel Arteta, with Gyökeres coming off for Kai Havertz. So Havertz on, scorer of the winner on the 91st minute. Madueke towards the edge of the area, laid off now. Madueke still in the box, but crashing off the side netting. Arsenal growing a little bit more confident now in this game. Madueke knows how close that opportunity was. A big puff of the cheeks outwards. As Madueke just continued the ball himself, Martinelli felt that he should have maybe laid that off for him. But instead the left foot of Madueke just guiding the ball, crashing off of the outside of the side netting. So Gyökeres off for Havertz, that's the first change of the evening for either side. Madueke so far seemingly the most viable threat for Arsenal was in the first half, and continuing in vain in the second half as well, as that's been headed long in towards the Lisbon half. Martinelli putting pressure on Quaresma. Havertz's first touch to lay the ball back towards Declan Rice. Eze now, short towards Hincapié and forced back towards the halfway line and over into their own half, with Gabriel on the ball, encouraging players to come nearer in support, laying the ball up on the deck, but easy to read there with Morita just sliding in, sending the ball up the right-hand touchline. Saliba doing the same himself as Rice now has the ball, waiting for movement at the moment. It's all very static, ball long, laid up this left-hand side of the field, but Havertz can't quite get there. Hjulmand does well to keep the ball alive. Katamo with a heavy touch though, both teams giving the ball away far too easily at the moment to get any time on the ball. But Zubamendi now in towards the centre circle as Mosquera plays out towards Madueke, midway into the Sporting half, coming in from the right, stepping over towards the byline, but a heavy touch onwards, and that one's going to go out far too easily for a goal kick for Sporting. And I'm amazed there hasn't been a goal yet at the Allianz. That one's still 3-2 to Real Madrid. All those goals coming in the first half. 4-4 in aggregate, that one now. But the score here tonight, Arsenal 0, Sporting 0, 1-0 to Arsenal, courtesy of a 1-0 lead late on at the end of that first leg in Lisbon. And Sporting following all too familiar pattern of exiting at the quarter-final stage. Arsenal seemingly having a little bit too much for Sporting to deal with this evening. But the best opportunities of the game have gone the way of the team currently sitting second in the Liga Portugal. Two big games against Porto and Benfica that sit either side of them in the table. Sporting now have the ball midway into the Arsenal half. Trincao laying off to the ledge of the area towards Morita, into the box, swiped away by Zubamendi, cleared long. Inacio though with the ball, looking upwards, trying to find a way to get the ball back in towards the penalty area. As Trincao comes back to offer support, short pass towards Morita, slowing things down. Morita back in the semicircle towards Diomande. As Lisbon have been forced a little bit further back, Arsenal regaining their shape, scrambling well. That's something that Arsenal have done impressively this evening, is found their shape quickly. In this position, dropping to a 4-3-3. You can see that shape very clearly as well with Lisbon when they have time on the ball as they do right now. But still with the ball in the central third. Hjulmand laid up towards the edge of the area. Suarez, left edge of the box, towards Trincao. Is there a chance here for Lisbon to find an opportunity to open up some space for a shot? But Trincao far too easily dispossessed, as Arsenal now have a chance to break away themselves up the right-hand channel. Madueke continuing his fine runs up that right-hand side, still with ball at feet, keeping the ball alive, but cheaply giving the ball away, as Lisbon now have the ball. Midway into the Arsenal half, creeping to the left edge of the penalty area. Arroyo laid off towards Hjulmand, left edge of the box, back to the byline. Hjulmand in, deflection, and that one is going to go out instead, seemingly for a corner for Sporting Lisbon. As Arroyo looks up towards Hjulmand there, excellent play from them, but the referee instead giving a goal kick for Arsenal. And a sight that Arsenal fans will not want to see there at the moment. Madueke still down, holding his knee, the knee that is strapped as well. That left knee of his, just feeling the full contact there from Pedro Goncalves. And there were plenty, Arteta included, that felt there should have been maybe a free kick that came from that. Madueke is still down, holding his knee. The physio's not yet coming on, and Madueke himself has had a couple of issues with injuries this season. Starting to find form yet again, completely isolated down there at the moment on the further side. Now the physios are charging onto the field to check on Noni Madueke. Not all that comfortable looking at the moment. Trossard the likeliest of changes from the bench potentially for this one. Max Dowman another potential option as well. But Madueke seemingly in some discomfort. Last scored a Champions League goal, a double against Brugge back in December. Madueke's really not looking all that much comfort at the moment. And he's been finding his form yet again in the previous couple of months. Well, and they will not want to see Madueke pick up injuries at this stage of the season with so much still on the line. And it is going to be a corner, actually, that was given. And Max Dowman has immediately got himself ready. So it looks like we're going to see Max Dowman to come on in place of Noni Madueke. But play will resume with a corner for Sporting Lisbon. This corner to be taken right in front of their fans on that further corner of the Emirates. As Max Dowman now comes on to get himself on for what is his third appearance in the Champions League. He did feature in the first leg, and he's going to have a little bit more game time in the second leg. Madueke gingerly making his way towards the touchline, receiving a round of applause from the fans. They'll be gutted to see him coming off. He has been by far and away Arsenal's best player this evening as well. Always looking to drive with dangerous runs up the right-hand side, but it is now up to Max Dowman, the 16-year-old breakthrough man from Chelmsford, Essex. And can he be the one to carry on that fine form up the right-hand channel for Arsenal this evening? But it is going to be a corner for Sporting. Pedro Goncalves to take this one, right-footed, swung in towards the goal. Plenty of movement in the 6-yard area. To the near post, headed across the face of the goal, but over the bar and going out for a goal kick instead. So we are nearing 65 minutes gone here at the Emirates. It's still 0-0, but that's a poor clearance from Raya, with Gabriel chasing to get there, giving it away for a throw-in midway inside the Arsenal half for Lisbon on this nearer side. Trincao picking up on that quick throw from Katamo towards Hjulmand. As Max Daumann looks to put pressure on Lisbon, but far too easy, finding space out wide on the left-hand side. Goncalves now, midway in towards the Arsenal half, laid back towards Morita, further back still into the centre circle towards Diomande. Lisbon so far with the lion's share, as they are known, the Leos time on the ball, but that's cheaply given away as Daumann gets his first few touches up that further side, but Morita sliding in brilliantly to dispossess the 16-year-old looking to break away. As Diomande clips the ball up the air towards that left-hand channel, headed away by Saliba. But Arroyo, the Uruguayan, turning far too easily away from Max Daumann. Always going to be tricky to get back into the pace of a game, in particular when the pace has been set by Madueke. And there'll be plenty concerned, hoping that there's not, hopefully, too much damage done there on Noni Madueke. Standout player for the Gunners this evening, and from both sides as well. He's been the most viable threat for the home side. Trincao laid off 1-2 with Suarez. Morita played out to the right edge of the box towards Katamo in the penalty area. Katamo still ball at feet, guiding away from surrounding Arsenal players. Laid off short towards Quaresma and back towards the centre circle, with Diomande squared towards Inacio, sending a ball long for Trincao. Gabriel heading towards Katamo in the box with a shot, deflection, and that one going wide, deflecting out, and that one is surely going to go out for a corner for Sporting on that further side. Yet again, another chance for Sporting from a corner. All of the Sporting players were thinking that Mosquera at the back post pushed in towards Arroyo. There were two arms in the lower back. I'm sure VAR will have a quick glance at this. I don't think there was enough to really send Maxi Arroyo to the deck that intently. But Bastian Dankert, the German VAR, is having a quick look at this one at the moment. His assistant is Belgian Bran van Drijscher. As Maxi Arroyo looked to break away, the softest of hands really in the small of Maxi Arroyo's back there. Surely won't be a penalty coming of this, and that does seem to be the case. It is going to be a corner for Sporting up the further side. And it is going to be Goncalves to take this one. A little bit of jostling in the 6-yard area between both sets of teams. And this is going to be Goncalves, right-footed, swung to the near post. Raya scrambling to punch the ball away, punching the ball well. As Katamo picks up on it first, laid back instead towards Arroyo. Arroyo from range, but nothing on that whatsoever. The sting taken fully out of it as it caught that first bounce on the surface, and comfortably gathered up by Raya instead. Midway into the second half here at the Emirates. Arsenal 0, Sporting 0. 1-0 on aggregate to the Gunners. Atletico Madrid lying in wait. The resilient, dangerous threat of Diego Simeone's team. So far, they will be taking on Arsenal in the semi-final on the 29th at the Metropolitano and the 5th back here at the Emirates, unless Sporting Lisbon have something else to say in the outcome of this game. It's still Madrid 3, Bayern 2, 4-4 on aggregate there. That one as it stands going to extra time. Long ball laid up the left-hand touchline. Havertz muscled off that ball by Diomande as Katamo plays the ball up to Hjulmand. Arsenal players looking to put the pressure on. Sporting playing themselves out of trouble. Suarez, mostly a passenger throughout this game, getting one of the rare touches for himself as Trincao plays a dangerous ball back, but Inacio does get there first, clearing the ball away straight to Arsenal shirts. As Saliba asks for that ball from Raya and gets just that. Played up towards Eza, now into the Lisbon half up the right-hand side. Mosquera, midway into the Lisbon half, squared short towards Eze on the left-hand side. Zede carries the ball to the right, hugging the touchline now. Daumann with the ball. Walking ball up towards the edge of the penalty area, but again cheaply given away. Arsenal's passes, their through passes in particular, have had real lack of any form of venom to break Lisbon's lines, as that's a wonderful ball played out now towards Katamo. Midway in towards the Arsenal half, breaking to the right edge of the penalty area, stepping over towards the byline. Ball into the box, but not troubling Raya whatsoever at the near post, and easy to deal with for the Spanish international. As Arsenal fans trying to encourage their team on their feet, willing them on up this right-hand side. Dauman just inside of his own half, laid off instead towards Saliba. Eze first time back out towards Dauman, who must have the longest shorts of any player on the field, almost like basketball shorts from Max Dauman. Seemingly of the days of the 30s in football. Max Dauman there, no low socks for him, but Arsenal now towards the left edge of the area. Martinelli into the box, but a good tackle from Quaresma, and that one goes out. It's going to be a throw-in for Arsenal, 5 yards from the corner flag on this nearer side. Arteta's animations growing ever more every time they break in towards the Lisbon third, as it is going to be in Nkapie to take this throw-in, drying off the ball. We're going to see a couple of changes made for Sporting Lisbon as well. A couple of players getting themselves ready. And it looks like it is going to be Quenda coming on potentially, and Brancanca as well. Quenda, in fact, will be moving to Chelsea at the end of this season. The young man coming on for Sporting Lisbon. Plenty of player that I'm sure any Chelsea fans listening or anyone watching will be keen to keep a close eye on. Giovanni Quenda, 18-year-old Portuguese youth player, made his first appearance at the weekend since the 5th of December with a metatarsal injury as well. And he will be joining Chelsea for £45 million in the summer. And Havertz just getting a little bit too close on Diomande there and going down off the edge of the area. The referee just telling Havertz to get on with that instead, as Lisbon do win themselves a free kick. And Arteta is going to receive a yellow card here for continuing his protest towards Francois Letexier. So a yellow card for Mikel Arteta for protest towards the referee, claiming that the free kick definitely wasn't there. It was right in front of where he was situated as well. But we are going to see these changes now made, and it is going to be Katamo and Goncalves coming off for Brancanca and Quenda. So Katamo and Goncalves off. 2 changes now made for either side. Quenda will be keeping a close eye on things here. He will be looking to familiarise himself with this place, visiting with Chelsea next season. But Brancanca now coming on to try and steady the ship in the middle of the park in particular. They seem weakest in the centre of the pack. Sporting this evening out wide, they're getting a fair amount of joy. But looking to bring on a bit of experience in Brancanca and a bit of youthful pace and exuberance in Quenda. Arsenal, though, with the ball just over midway inside the Lisbon half up the right-hand side. Havertz laid off towards Dauman. Dauman back instead towards Mosquera in plenty of room, who goes all the way back towards Raya, midway inside of his own half. Sporting with the lion's share of time on the ball in the last 15 minutes of this game. But that's been laid off towards Eze, edge of the area, first time, poor connection with the ball from Eze, tongue outstretched, high over the crossbar and going out for a goal kick for Sporting. Into the final 20 minutes here at the Emirates, Arsenal 0, Sporting 0, 1-0 on aggregate though to Arsenal. Kai Havertz goal on the 91st minute at the Estadio Jose Alvalade. As Lisbon play that goal kick short, Diomande dinking up towards Quenda, his first touch heading the ball up this near channel, but straight away given away, and further still that going out for an Arsenal throw-in right in front of Arteta as he throws the ball up to Nkapie. That throw-in midway inside the Lisbon half on this nearer side, creeping closer and closer towards the end of this game. Arsenal in advantage given the scoreline, and giving away a free kick, in Havertz just falling down on the ball far too easily in the eyes of the referee, feigning a foul. Havertz now the second time that he's done that in quick succession. Francois Letexier quick to notice this. And Havertz does need to be careful himself. He will receive a yellow card if he's seen doing that again. I'm surprised he didn't receive a yellow card initially for going down easily then. As Quenda plays the ball into the box, ricocheting off of Nkapie in towards the centre circle. Eze now with the ball, carrying midway inside the Lisbon half towards the right-hand side. Wonderful pressure, though, from Lisbon players scrambling back to get themselves on the ball. Morita, Shaw back towards Diomande, midway inside of their own half, laid off to the captain, Hjulmand. As Hjulmand squares to the left-hand side towards Inacio. Morita and Hjulmand working well together in the centre of the park when dropping deep, but with so many gaps between them as Brankanka comes and gets his first touches on the ball. Quick short interchange of passes from Lisbon up the left hand side. But the big issue for them is none of those passes are at all breaking a sweat on Arsenal. They've had the best chances of the game, you have to say, Lisbon, but the scoreline remains 0-0 as they will seemingly grow more desperate. But they're now released up the left hand side. Good interception into the box, reflected high into the air, but Raya comes to gather that ball up himself, rolling out first time towards Mosquera, but a poor pass from Mosquera looking for Eza, straight to the green and white shirts of Sporting players surrounding, as Inacio has the ball on the halfway line, laid short towards Hjulmand, up towards Brankanka, now switching out to this right hand side of the field. Quenda carrying the ball towards Hincapié up the right hand side, but laid back instead towards Quaresma. 1-2 back towards Quenda, under pressure and going down far too easily, and that is going to be a free kick for Arsenal. Quenda just giving away the foul, and it's going to be a free kick for Arsenal midway inside their own half on this nearer side. This has been a truly poor display, it must be said, for a quarter-final of a Champions League game in the second leg. You would look at these teams and you would look at the performance from Atletico last night and you would say Atletico are seemingly the team that are going to be the one progressing beyond the semi-final. There's been a lack of anything, of any sort of bite from either side this evening. Potentially Arsenal have an eye on Sunday, it has to be said, and you could even say that for Sporting with their game against Benfica and then after that against Porto. But both sides showing a real lack of intent to show the rest of the teams in the competition that they are to be taken seriously as a contender to lift the trophy in Budapest on the 30th of May. But Arsenal now do win themselves a corner to be taken on the left-hand side. Wonderful work rate from Piero Hincapié, forcing the error from Quaresma. And so it's going to be a corner taken. Declan Rice is going to be the one to make his way over to the corner on this nearer side. The Arsenal fans giving him a big round of applause as he makes his way towards the corner of the field. Surely a goal now for Arsenal would be the one that seals and books their place in the semi-final fully into the final 15 minutes of the game here now at the Emirates. It's going to be Declan Rice, right-footed ball swung in towards the goal, that left arm raised of the captain, right foot driven to the far post, headed back across, cleared away by Quaresma, and it's going to be a corner to be taken again, but this time on the further side of the field. Zubamendi just tries to amp up the fans in that corner where Max Daumann comes over to take this corner himself. Those shorts low below his knee. Thankfully he hasn't got the low socks on, because that really would be quite the look for Max Daumann, the 16-year-old. An incredible season he's had breaking into the Arsenal fold. Many thinking and talking of him getting into Tuchel's plans for the summer. But this is going to be Max Daumann now, left-footed ball, swung in towards the goal, now stepping up, driven to the back post, over everyone, and Rui Silva clambering down but feeling a foul in the process, and the referee spotting that for a free kick for Sporting. And it looks like we are going to see another change being made. And it is going to be for Sporting Lisbon, as Morita is going to be the one coming off in place of Simões. So João Simões coming on in place of Morita, the Japanese international, with Simões coming on to make his 50th appearance for Sporting Lisbon in his career. Simões, the Sporting youth team player, 19 years of age. Another player on the field who's had a breakthrough season with their side. This one really determining his place as a Sporting first-team player this year. Emerged last season, but this year establishing himself as a named regular in the Sporting team, either starting or off the bench. Simões starting all Champions League games this year he's featured in, aside from this one, as Daumann carries the ball brilliantly from the right hand over the left hand side of the centre circle, swarmed by Sporting players who dispossess brilliantly. Quenda with a poor pass laid out the right hand side, and that one going out easily for an Arsenal throw-in midway inside their own half on this nearer side. And that pass seemingly so wary and obvious of exactly how this game has been played, searching passes, lots of questions. And as said moments ago, if you're Diego Simeone, you're probably watching this one with a little bit of an air of optimism, but there are going to be 2 more changes made now for Arsenal, and it looks like Gabriel Jesus is going to be one of those changes, as is Leandro Trossard. And Eze is going to be one of those players making their way off, as well as it looks like Martinelli. So Trossard, he will be coming on for Martinelli. And Gabriel Jesus coming on as well. The player who's had chances stunted this season in particular, Gabriel Jesus. This just his 5th appearance, cruciate ligament injury, stunting his season's opportunities, but now a chance for Gabriel Jesus to maybe be the player to book their place in the semi-final, and Arsenal win themselves a free kick. This one around 10 yards from the very right corner of the penalty area. A good position this, and Maxi Arroyo, receiving a yellow card in the process for fouling Max Daumann. So Jesus and Trossard on for Eze and Martinelli. 4 changes made for Arsenal. Just the 3 made so far for Sporting, so 2 more for the Portuguese and 1 more for Arteta, if he so needs to call upon it. On to the final 10 minutes of the game here at the Emirates. Still goalless between Arsenal and Sporting. But a chance here for Declan Rice to play a dangerous ball from this free kick in towards the penalty area from the right-hand side of the field. This to be a right-footed ball from Declan Rice, drilled to the near side of the 6-yard area, not quite dealt with, looking for the backheel shot, but easy to deal with there, players jumping on, but Daumann picks up on the ball right edge of the box, stepping over towards the byline, carrying the ball away from nearby threat, and played back further still towards Declan Rice, who plays an almost wayward pass into Zubimendi in the centre circle, fortunately in plenty of space. Hincapié chipping a ball up to the edge of the penalty area. Jesus can't quite get there ahead of Diomande as Simoge plays a ball up the left-hand side, but a heavy touch onward instead from Suarez. Suarez moving further out left, and Brancanca almost playing as the sole central striker as Trossard get his first touch, playing a ball up the right, deflected onwards. Arroyo, beautiful cute flick backwards off of the Belgian's foot, deflecting out for a goal kick for Sporting. And surely now Rui Borges has got to start throwing a lot more caution to the wind if his side are going to mount a serious challenge. They've had the best opportunities of the game, but of late they've shown very little on Arsenal's goal. All of it far too easy for either goalkeeper, it must be said. And I am amazed that there hasn't been another goal scored in Munich in the second half. 3-2 to Real Madrid. What a first half that one has proved to be. The second half following suit of the entire 90 of this game, and even the 90 in Lisbon. That was a close, nervy game itself. Until Kai Havertz broke the deadlock on the 91st minute. Havertz coming off the bench this evening. And what Arsenal and Mikel Arteta would give for Kai Havertz to do just that yet again, to confirm their place in the semi-final of the Champions League for yet another year. Falling at that hurdle last season to eventual champions Paris Saint-Germain. What they would give to have yet another crack at this, another chance to entertain a final 20 years since that defeat in the Stade de France against Barcelona. As Trossard picks up off the ball off the edge of the area. Played back towards Hincapié. Trossard, left side of the field. Short pass laid back instead towards Gabriel. As Hincapié lays the ball off rolling, but Trossard not reading it. And that one goes out for a goal kick instead for Sporting Lisbon. Well, the last time that Arsenal lost a second leg when playing that at home, leading away from home in the first leg, that was against Olympiacos in 2020 in the Europa League, that by way of a penalty shootout. And so by away goals rule, and they will be desperately hoping there is no away goals rule this time. They will be hoping to avoid that fate, but they are in control, and Arsenal have won themselves a corner on the further side. Arroyo just getting the last touch on that ball, brilliant from Kai Havertz, right in the corner of the field. And it is going to be Max Dowman to take this corner. Jesus coming over to offer an option as well. But Max Dowman now got all of those Arsenal fans on their feet in that corner of the field here at the Emirates. And can he swing one dangerous ball in from corners as we've seen all season? Dowman to the back post. Trossard heading across the post. And so nearly Arsenal finding the clincher there on the near post. Still they come Arsenal. Trossard 5 yards from the left edge of the area. Just taking his time to find Jesus on the touchline on this near left-hand side. Jesus back towards Trossard and back further still towards Declan Rice. Trossard so nearly the super sub there with the header, cannoning off the near post. But Saliba now has the ball midway into the Lisbon half, played up towards Mosquera, right side of the penalty area, short towards Dowman, creeping in towards that right edge of the box in the byline. Turning away from the near Sporting players and back instead towards Saliba. Saliba, long crossfield ball, but far too much on that one. And that one goes out for a throw-in for Lisbon. 10 yards from the corner flag inside of their own half. And Leandro Trossard so nearly guiding his header into the back of the Lisbon net, but finding the wrong side of the post. That, so far, it must be said, Arsenal's best chance of the game. That one coming on the 84th minute. As Arsenal come yet again, now they can sense a goal coming to seal this one. Jesus, brilliant, onto the byline, back across, but far too near that near post. And just catching the outside of the side netting. Gabriel Jesus seemingly up for this one, finally getting some much-needed game time. He has scored 2 goals in the Champions League this season, a brace against Inter Milan. And this is 5th appearance in the competition as Sporting look to make themselves their 2 final changes of the game. And we await to see who is going to be coming on. Well, Quaresma and Trincao, they will be the ones making their way off. And it is going to be Rafael Nel and Vagianidis coming on. Rafael Nel, he's a player to keep an eye on in particular. 21-year-old Portuguese Porto youth team player. As he looks to make an impact, but Arsenal come with Dowman in the penalty area, but turning away, far too easily dispossessed. Jesus keeping the ball at feet, but Hjulman swiping a big tackle in instead. As now Sporting look to break up this right-hand side. Quenda releasing Vagianidis fresh on the field towards the right edge of the penalty area. Hincapie coming back to try and guide away as he finds a short pass towards Quenda. Quenda Hjulman, 1-2 task with Quenda back on the ball. As Bruncanca chips the ball to the left side of the field. But Simos can't quite a foot on it instead as Dowman plays the ball up the right-hand side towards Havertz. Havertz now carrying the ball midway inside the Lisbon half, up that right-hand side, stopping and waiting for numbers to come up in support, finding one of those in Zubamendi, carrying the ball to the left side. And squared towards Hincapie, Sporting players scrambling to get back in formation. Trossard now off the edge of the area, jinking away, but a big interception from Diomande, getting a big body in front of the Belgian. As Sporting clear away, taking no chances whatsoever. So the final 2 changes made by Rui Borges and Sporting Lisbon. Quaresma and Trincao off for Nel and Vagianidis. Rafael Nel, this his 3rd appearance. He did score against Bodo Glimt in the second leg in Lisbon. This is 8th senior appearance for Sporting Lisbon tonight. A big future talent, 21 years of age. And will he be the solution to Rui Borges this evening in getting their way back into this quarter-final, into the final 5 minutes here at the Emirates, still goalless, 1-0 advantage to Arsenal. The next goal in this one would be so telling. If it was to be for Arsenal, that would be far too much for Sporting to deal with. But what a hammer blow that would be for Arsenal if Sporting were to find a way back into this one and draw this one further into extra time. Arsenal now with the ball midway into the Sporting half, up that right-hand side. As Dowman has the ball. Just laid off there with Zubamendi. Arsenal taking no chances, going back to the space of Gabriel, who sends a ball up into the air to this left-hand side. Hincapie can't quite get there. Instead, Vagianidis does, and it's going to go out for an Arsenal throw-in. As Arteta comes charging outside of his technical area, almost onto the field of play himself. That throw-in taken short back instead towards Zubamendi as Gabriel goes further back still towards David Raya. Just around 2 minutes to go of the regulation 90 now in this game. Raya, long ball up, Vagianidis winning well. Arsenal coming now though. Hincapié short towards Trossard, off the left edge of the area, 2 yards from the edge of the box. Quenda standing nearest too as the short pass is laid off towards Hincapié. Jesus now looking to carry the ball away, going back instead towards Zubamendi. Everything just seemingly a little bit too nervy in the final third for either side. Trossard short towards Rice and further still to this left-hand channel. Rice, 1-2 now with Jesus and back towards Gabriel. Beautiful pass up the left-hand side towards Zubamendi. Zubamendi back towards Gabriel instead, midway inside the Sporting half. Sporting players not daring to push forward and open up any spaces for a killer blow as Jesus carries the ball into the box, played inside, deflection, and Sporting carry the ball away themselves now with Simaush laid off towards Luis Suarez. Suarez, short pass over the halfway line up towards Arroyo, waiting for numbers in support. Arsenal players scrambling back. Simauj now with the ball, midway inside the Arsenal half, having to turn and find Brancanca in plenty of space. Now into the final minute of the 90 here at the Emirates, as what has been a tepid, uncertain, nervy game in North London. Quenda now, 5 yards from the edge of the area, ball into the box to the further back post. Mosquera heading the ball away from danger. Havertz finding a guiding pass out towards Dauman on the right side of the field, sending a ball up that right hand touchline but straight to Inacio. Midway into the Arsenal half now, Sporting on the ball. Simauj turning towards the penalty area, laid off short, first time into the box, cross field. Quenda can't quite get there though, heading the ball onto Trossard, who now looks to carry the ball out of his own half and into the Sporting one, doing just that, the Belgian. Midway into the Sporting half, laid up the left-hand side towards Hincapié, into the box, but a big interception by Vagianidis. That one's going to trickle out for an Arsenal throw-in midway inside of the Sporting half on this nearer side. Real Madrid down to 10 men. Camavinga with a second yellow card towards the end of that game. Now with a real task on their hand as Bayern Munich are a man advantage, but that one is still 4 apiece on aggregate, 3-2 on the night to Madrid. 0-0 here, 4 minutes of time added on. The Arsenal fans now truly starting to believe that they will be facing Atletico Madrid in the semi-final, becoming more encouraging, on their feet, willing their team onwards to the final whistle. Arsenal win themselves a throw-in deep inside the Sporting half on this near side, taking their time with this one, with Francois Letexier just encouraging them to speed up the process a little bit more. And it's going to be Hincapié to throw this in towards the penalty area. Havertz shielding the ball off towards Trossard, into the box, deflection away off of Hjulmand, and it's going to be a corner for Arsenal on this near side. Declan Rice will be the one to come over and take this. Hjulmand felt there should have been a handball potentially given there against Arsenal. Havertz controlling the ball down in the box with his arm. Hjulmand felt that one far too deliberate. And so now 1 minute of the 4 minimum have gone. A corner for Arsenal. Declan Rice taking his dear time, but we'll see if Francois Letexier does exactly what UEFA want in allowing time onwards when the ball is out of play. If so, there will still be another 3.5 or so minutes to go in this game. Declan Rice, though, right-footed, swung to the back post, far too high and looping, going straight out for a goal kick as Rui Silva comes to get the ball and try and clear this one away as quick as he can. Time ticking further and further towards yet another elimination for Sporting Lisbon at the quarter-final, but another chance for Arsenal at the semi-final to push on to Budapest in May. As Inacio plays short towards Hjulmand. Still not too much movement by Sporting Lisbon to push players further upfield. Surely now is the time for the kitchen utilities to make their way further up Arsenal's half. As Hjulmand now slipping underfoot, crossfield ball to the right-hand side, over the head of Mosquera. Arroyo looking to get the better of Mosquera, but straight towards the Arsenal man, who does brilliantly shielding the ball away. But it is going to be a Sporting throw-in, and Bayern have got themselves a leveller late on in the game at the Allianz, now booking their place in the semi-final against Paris Saint-Germain as it stands. Into the final 2 minutes here, though. Hjulmand laid off towards Simauj, far too heavy of a ball up the left-hand side, getting beyond Brancanca, and that one goes out for a throw-in for Arsenal as we have just around 1.5 minutes to go of the minimum 4. The Sporting fans encouraging their team on as they have done all game long. Fantastic support from that green and white brigade in the corner of the Emirates. They've been vocal and boisterous all game long. Arsenal fans have been nervously quiet all evening, as Sporting do win themselves a free kick 5 yards into the Arsenal half on this nearer side. Everyone pushing now into the penalty area. Surely this is the last chance of the game for Sporting to see if they can find some way of keeping themselves alive in this tournament. Rui Silva, the one to take this one, sending it long in towards the box. David Raya comes to claim with ease and throws the ball out first time. Trossard looks to get there first and does, midway into the Sporting half. Sporting players coming back. Wonderful interception though. 30 seconds remain. Sporting looking to come yet again. Vagianidis midway into the Arsenal half up this further side, breaking away with Nkapie charging in with a big tackle, and it's going to go out for a Sporting throw-in, level with the edge of the 18-yard area on this near side. Seconds remain. Arsenal fans checking watches, checking the clock. Lisbon fans biting nails, hoping that they have one last chance to try and get themselves into this. Rui Borges receiving a yellow card for moving far down this near touchline. And it is going to be Quenda to take this throw in. We are now hit the 4th minute of the minimum 4. This surely the last chance of the game. Quenda thrown in towards the box, headed away, swiped, edge of the area. Simaush! And just wide of the target. Simaush so nearly finding the back of the Arsenal net. Head in hands, he knows that that was the chance that Sporting had to book their place into at least a little bit of extra time. And there goes the referee's final whistle. Arsenal have ridden the wave of what has been a truly nervy game here in North London. But Arsenal will be playing against Atletico Madrid in the semi-final of the Champions League. That first leg at the Metropolitano on Wednesday the 29th of April. And the second leg back here at the Emirates on Tuesday the 5th of May. With João Simões with the last strike of the ball centimetres wide of David Raya's goal. Simões almost lifeless down on the deck, knowing how close he was to finding a late leveller, bringing extra time into this game. But instead, it went wide, and it is Arsenal's night. They will be facing Atletico Madrid, readying themselves for Diego Simeone, but a big task at hand at them against Manchester City at the Etihad on Sunday. It's finished here, Arsenal 0, Sporting 0, 1-0 to Arsenal on aggregate. Arsenal progress, and semi-finals yet again not going the way of Sporting Lisbon. Thank you all so very much for listening, and I hope you all have a very pleasant rest of your week ahead. Thank you very much.